I've got quite a lot of messages and comments from you guys regarding this topic, so I think it's time to talk about money. But first, now, before we even start this video, I want to please ask all of you to not take this discussion as some kind of a financial advice or something to that extent. Please do not take financial advice from anyone on the internet. This is just me telling you my own situation and how I got to own this car. Now, first things first, I financed this car. Why? Well, because of two very simple reasons. One would be that I got a really good deal, and the second one would be that I can't really afford to have my money sitting in one asset that doesn't really produce anything. But in case you're wondering, there's basically four ways for you to buy a car. First, you have the option to buy the car using cash. Then there's the regular car loan, which basically means you're paying a deposit and financing the rest of the car. Then there's finance, which is the option I went for, that we'll go through in detail later. And then there's a lease, which means that you're basically renting the car for 2 or 3 years, depending on your deal, and then giving it back after that period. This is basically the easiest way to buy a car because there's no down payment, you don't have to worry about the resale value, or anything like that. You just go, order the car, pick it up, drive it for 3 years, and then give it back. Okay, so back to my deal now. Why did I choose finance out of the 4 options I had? Well, I did that because I'm not really planning on keeping the car after the agreement is done. And by choosing this option, that means I'm gonna have a lower monthly payment. Why is that, you may ask? Well, it's simply because of the way a finance deal is structured. My deal is 20% advance money, 30% the actual loan, and 50% the residual value. The advance money is the sum you have to pay up front for the car. The loan is the amount of money you're actually borrowing from your bank. And finally, there's the residual value of the car, and that's the amount of money you will have to pay once the agreement is done, if you want to keep the car. If you don't want to keep it, you just trade it in at your dealer, use the money they give you for it as an advance for your future car. And that's why the monthly payment for a finance deal is lower than the one of a regular car loan. Because on a finance deal, you're usually borrowing just 30% of the car's value, while on a regular car loan, you're loaning 70 or 80%, depending on how much down payment you put down. No, thank you.
Have a nice day.
Now, because I want to be honest with you guys, I have to tell you that the amount of money I paid for the car is actually lower than the one you saw on the screen earlier. I got a really good deal from my friends at Bavaria Stockholm, which I can't really disclose for obvious reasons. But what I can tell you is that if you're looking for your next BMW and you live close to Stockholm, you should definitely give them a call. Now, my loan is a 3-year deal. I got an interest rate of 4.2%, and with a down payment of 20%, my monthly payment for the M2 is around 6,100 Swedish krona. All taxes and handling fees included. So there you go. Now let's jump into some ownership costs. Unfortunately, when you buy a new BMW, servicing it will not be one of those costs. Because for 3 years or 80,000 kilometers, whichever comes first, you have free servicing. That's the deal here in Sweden. I'm not sure what it's like in other countries, but there you go. When you buy a car, you obviously have to insure it. In Sweden, when you buy a new car, the manufacturer has to give you a so-called collision insurance for the entire time the car is under warranty. That insurance is supposed to cover chassis damages, vandalism, and some other things I can't really remember right now. So you have the basic insurance covered already when you buy a car here. But since I want this car to be fully covered, I had to purchase a so-called half insurance that basically covers for everything that the collision insurance doesn't. So my car has an insurance that fully covers for everything, and I pay 995 Swedish krona every month. And now on to tires. Yes, tires. Because I live in Sweden and the winters here are proper, I had to buy winter tires. And because I really didn't want to mount 18-inch wheels and tires on this car because it doesn't look that good, the winter tires for the stock wheels were quite expensive. 4 Continental Conti Winter Sport TS 830P cost me almost 11,000 Swedish krona. And the last ownership cost I have is the yearly tax in Sweden, which is about 4,000 Swedish krona for the BMW M2, which, as a fun fact, is cheaper than what I had to pay tax for my diesel 3 Series. Yep. We could also include fuel in the ownership cost, but I guess that's really depends on the individual, and let's just say it's a lot. And that, my friends, kind of covers everything cost-wise related to my BMW M2. So let me know what you think. Buying an M2, is it expensive or is it worth the money? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. For me, this car is worth every single penny I've put into it. It's a hell of a good car to drive, it's surprisingly practical, and it's one of those BMWs that you don't really lose money with, at least in Sweden, that is. Anyway guys, I hope this video answers your questions about how much does it cost to buy and own a BMW M2. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Cartoon for lots more content to come. And until next time, take good care of yourselves and I'll see you around.